angle in the first. Watch out.
Look at this. Upton pops it up. Left side, Elvis Andrus is backpedaling. He is under it. He puts it away. The Texas Rangers have won a postseason series.
The Texas Rangers are American League champions.
And welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a series victory, after a 6-0 win. Good to be with you today. Obviously, not immediately post-game, but you know what? Better late than never. So here we are, talk some good baseball, and also to preview the upcoming series as well after an off day tomorrow. It's going to be a good show. Of course, we'll make sure that we get to as many of you guys' comments and questions as possible. We'll have our own talking points. You know the drill, but it's great to be with you here right on Rangers. We cover everything Texas sports, but put a huge emphasis on the Rangers, obviously, during the baseball season, and we thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for all of your Texas Rangers content. Again, drop a comment, drop a question. We will try and get to it as quickly as we can. Good day to be a Rangers fan. You had a 6-0 win over the Giants. Pretty no-sweat victory. You had the Astros losing in extra innings to the Blue Jays. How sweet it is, baby. How sweet it is. Detroit plays the Mariners a little bit later on this evening. That'll be starting at 8:40 Texas time here in a few hours. We'll keep our eye on that Mariners game. Obviously, when it begins, our show will be long done with by then, but we'll do some scoreboard watching here and there for you. Not a whole lot else going on, though, at this moment. Most of the games about to get underway today. But let's talk about this one. Let's open up with Cody Bradford. Cody Bradford has not pitched since September 25th, 2024. First start since then. And all he did was go, 4 and a third scoreless, 5 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Not a bad start for him by any means. And look, Cody Bradford, to his credit, has been pitching well in his rehab assignments as well. He is 100% locked in at this moment in time. Looks sharp really all the way through. Beginning, obviously, in July when he first went down to AA, going on to AAA, and now pitching in the major leagues. I am very encouraged by the fact that Cody was able to go out there, get outs. I think that's important. Obviously, you're playing a pretty bad opponent. I do think, there's obviously a lot of excitement around Cody. I do think if you're just trying to be totally based in your perspective on this, you've got the Giants, probably one of, if not the worst team in baseball. I think temper the expectations just a little bit. I think Cody's obviously got some potential. I've thrown it back many times to that 2024 year. Cody was very, very good at home and very, very bad on the road. That was kind of Cody in a nutshell before he got hurt. I know the ERA, decent, obviously the numbers, decent that 2024 season as well by and large, but I would just say let's be cautiously optimistic here. I like that Cody comes out, gets hits, limited base runners for the most part, 7 base runners and 4 1/3. Not bad. Definitely not bad. Cody, a little low on the velo. I know a lot of people, when I was posting during the game, kind of popped back. I mean, look, Cody in 23 was about 91 on the fastball. I think it was like 90.5 or 90.6 technically average velo. I know there's the point that he definitely gets a lot of extension. I got to be totally honest with you guys, and I think you've been able to pick up the vibe. I can't say I'm a big-time believer in Cody, that he's going to be some kind of long-term ace with the Rangers. I would be really surprised if that ended up happening. I'm excited that he did well today, and I'll take whatever I can get at this point from this Rangers team that is now one game within 500. But I'm not really sold on Cody as some kind of long-term rotation option. I hope to be wrong. I really do. I know that some people are going to get a little sensitive about this perhaps, but I can't say that I'm all in. I like what we got today. I'm going to take it as it comes, but I am not in love with the stuff. I know, 88 is where you were sitting today. Maybe that ticks up to 89, 90. The fastball, I think I could get over, but he's a below average spin guy. The fastball doesn't do a whole lot. It's fairly flat. And so what that means is if Cody's not hitting his location, he's going to have a tough time. He's going to have a tough time. And I hope that he can continue to pitch well throughout the rest of the season. I think you're cautiously optimistic if you're a big Cody Bradford fan. I think cautious optimism here. You're playing one of the worst teams in baseball. You're playing a team that has some lefties that you were able to limit today. You think about some of the guys up and down their lineup. I mean, shoot, Devers had a couple of hits despite the left-handedness. Jung-Hoo Lee had a hit. Eldridge had a hit. Still some lefties were able to get on board today for San Fran, but I think the Rangers will take whatever solid pitching performances they can get at this point. I definitely can appreciate a guy just going out and giving the Rangers a chance to win. And the offense came to play today. Offense absolutely came to play today. I really think that taking the pressure off of Cody early on, bottom of the third inning, they put up the 4 spot. That's beautiful. That was huge, I think. Just so you didn't have the tightness, you didn't have that thin margin for error. A guy coming back pitching in the major leagues for the first time in a couple of years. I love that they gave him that early run support. Not all Rangers pitchers have had the benefit of that, right? I think that was a key component here. And good to see the Rangers offense come to life a little bit. It's been a tough, really week of baseball last week, almost week and a half. Like we had the big win yesterday. You're a little fortunate, perhaps. Don't know what would have happened in extra innings had Jung-Hoo Lee played that Ezekiel Duran ball a little bit better, but we'll take it. That was my video today. We will take whatever win we can get at this point, man. Runs definitely helped him out. I mean, Darnell, you know how it is, man. You and I are on the same page here. Like, I've said so many times, yeah, as a pitcher, clearly you're trying to tune out as much as you can. Doesn't matter what the score is. You're just trying to play your game. But I think a lot of us can think back on our playing career, man. You're in a 0-0 ball game. It's just different. It's different pitching in a tight game than it is when you've got a little bit of a lead. You're more apt to challenge hitters. You're more apt to throw strikes. Cody was doing a lot of that today. It's what you got to do. When you go up 4 runs, you go up 5 runs. That's the name of the game. Yeah, you're not clearly trying to throw meatballs, beach balls over the heart of the plate, but you're not as afraid to challenge hitters when the margin for error is much, much bigger. I'm glad the Rangers offense came together, figured that out, and I think that it's a good momentum builder heading into the off day, heading into the weekend series, which we're going to preview a little bit later on. Kate, I'm with you on this. I'm definitely with you on this. Bradford, for me, I think he is an interesting guy that maybe you could throw in a bullpen spot. Again, I'm not high on Cody as a long-term starter. And I know, again, some people maybe are going to react sensitively to this. I mean, it's nothing personal. It's just my opinion. That's what you come here for. This isn't an echo chamber. I love Cody Bradford. I hope he does well. I'm just not seeing the long-term starter, but I am seeing kind of a Hobie Milner change of pace type arm in the pen that can maybe give you multiple innings. I think it honestly would be perfect for long relief. He's a guy that gives you a change of speed, a different look. Yeah, he can definitely pitch from different spots on the mound, kind of give you different angles. I think this could actually be a really valuable thing in long relief, at least out in the bullpen. It doesn't even have to be a necessarily a long relief role, although his work as a starter, I think, would put him in a pretty good spot to do that. Now, look, if he becomes our number 2, number 3 in the rotation in a year or 2 from now, and he's crushing it, happy to be wrong. I tell people that all the time, man. Like, I know I'm always going to have people, man, that take aged like milk, or, man, that totally whiffed on that take. Great. I mean, if Cody Bradford becomes top of the line starting pitcher, I'll be happy to eat a massive plate of crow, as I always like to say. But right now, just not seeing it. Not seeing the long-term starter appeal, but I definitely feel like today's a positive building point. The Rangers with injuries to Leiter and with injuries to other guys here and there, it's going to be nice to have him. It really is. It's going to be a nice luxury to have Bradford, and we've got him for a couple more years, along with some other guys. I'd like the setup there for sure. We'll keep on rolling. I hope this is the start of a good streak. 100% I do. Absolutely. Forever winning, I agree. Great win. He did look pretty good today, Nate. Absolutely. Don't think we're going to go for Ozuna, Colts fan. I'd be really surprised on that. I really feel like we're going to be rolling with the guys we have, barring injury. I think maybe if somebody got hurt, I don't know. Not sure on that one. Yeah, I mean, Brian, this is how I feel. Look, there's no bad takes if the Rangers are doing well. That's always how I've operated. Clearly, you're not going to be perfect on every single one of your analyses. You're just not. But I am going to be okay every time things are going positively for Texas. 100%. Yeah, look, Darnell, this is where we got to keep it. What Cody did today, regardless of what I think about Cody long-term, what I want to say is this. The dude worked his butt off to get to this spot. He dealt with a lot of ups and downs. And so beyond what I think about Cody as a starter, Cody as a long reliever, I think we can all agree the dude's got some mettle. He's got some guts. He's got some heart, man. It's not easy. 2 years, you're going through the rehab process. You're ramping up. You're getting shut down. That's not easy. And so I will say this, despite whatever analysis, whatever take we have on Cody Bradford's long-term, I think, again, we can all come together and agree this dude has got some grit, and you love to see that. You love to see that from any ball player, but I especially like stories like this, comeback stories, a guy really, really crushed by injuries, a young and promising player, and he comes back and has a great 2026 debut. Phenomenal. Absolutely. They made a new salute celebration to respect DeGrom. Is that where the salute comes from? We keep on going. Appreciate you guys. Hey, Stevie, love you too, my guy. Have a great day. All right, we keep rolling. Let's go to, hey, a couple more people. Hey, what's good, man? Thanks for tuning in today. I agree. Great shutdown. Great shutout win. 100%. Velo is a little down, sure. I know that today was 88 and 23. He was at 90 and a half, 91. You would figure, if he's fully healthy, if you're putting him in a bullpen role, maybe he could get up to 92, 93. I think he could probably get a couple more. You see Jacob Latz do that a little bit too as a starter. You're not quite gassing it out every single time, but when you're in that 1 or 2 inning window, you can let it fly a little bit more. So look, clearly going to ramp up, I think, over the next month, over the next couple of months here. You just hope you can have a solid finish in 2026 and really go into the offseason on a positive note. I think that's got to be the play. Baxic said he would put Leiter in the bullpen. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Leiter in the bullpen. I'm just not a fan of a number 2 pick, right? First round, number 2 overall. I'm just not a fan of moving those guys into the pen. I mean, look, Cole Winn, 2018 first round pick. He's in the pen. I don't think that is a success per se. I mean, Cole Winn, clearly he's got to do the best he can with the cards he's been dealt, but I wouldn't call it an organizational success when your first round draft pick becomes a bullpen piece. Maybe in the short term, but not long term. So if Baksic is suggesting it for this year, I mean, okay, but long term, lighter in the pen, wouldn't want to see that. Would not want to see that. I would 100% be maybe okay with it for this season, but I don't even know if I really enjoy that either. I think you got to keep this guy developing positively as a starter. I think it's tempting to put Lights in the pen, but it was tempting to put Rocker in the pen too. And look how that's gone, right? You stuck with Rocker in the starting rotation, and he's made some positive strides. I mean, he hasn't been perfect this year, but he's made some positive strides. I really do not want to see them mess with Jack Leiter's development and do that. So, I mean, look, Baksic, entitled to his opinion. I would probably pass on that. I think this is something we can all agree on, whether you think that it's a good idea or not, whether you think Leiter to the bullpen, Mike Baksic's suggestion is a good idea or not. The Rangers shouldn't even be in that spot. You shouldn't even be in a spot where you're thinking about taking your number 2 overall pick back in 2021 and moving him to the bullpen because you're cheap and you didn't go out and get any pieces at the deadline. And so you've got to move him to the bullpen. Man, I'm just not a fan of that. Like, the only reason, let's be real about this, right? The only reason you move Leiter to the pen is because you didn't get anybody. Like, as an organization, you didn't want to spend the money. You didn't want to go and trade for anybody. So now we're going to screw up somebody's development and move them to the bullpen? It sounds dumb to me. I'm not a big fan of that the more I think about it. Darnell makes a good point. Jack is susceptible to lack of control. Like Mackenzie Gore. I mean, Mackenzie will sometimes, for just that one inning, lose control. That's just not something you want high leverage in the pen. It's not. Who was talking about 6-man rotation, Nate? Was that the TV guys? Was that the TV guys? Let me know. We've talked about 6-man rotation. We've definitely talked about 6-man rotation. And I got to be honest with you guys, I'm not a fan of that either. A 6-man rotation, just the short version, give you the cliff notes because I've already explained this at length. A 6-man rotation is only a good thing if you actually have a loaded bullpen. So let me ask you this. With respect to the players that we have on the roster, would you say that our bullpen is loaded? I mean, I wouldn't. We're talking about moving Jack Leiter to the bullpen. Like, if we're talking about moving Jack Leiter to the bullpen, do we have a loaded bullpen right now? I would say no. And so with that assessment in mind, if you go to a 6-man rotation, you're basically weakening an already weak bullpen. Do we have some awesome guys in there that I love cheering for 100%? Robby Ahlstrom, Peyton Gray, Todd the Painter. And was he painting today, man? He had a good outing. We've got some fun arms that I enjoy rooting for, but, man, I do not want to go to a 6-man rotation. If you have one person in the rotation blow up on you, it's automatically putting you at a crazy disadvantage. Right? If you go to 6-man and even one, let alone imagine if 2 guys in the rotation blow up and you've got to use a number of arms on a given day, it's bad. It really relies heavily. A 6-man rotation relies so heavily on the starters actually pitching solid. without a lot of volatility. Does that sound like our rotation? I feel like I'm teaching a class right now. That does not sound like our rotation. Our rotation is not devoid of volatility. Mackenzie Gore, he's pitched great the last 2 starts. I don't think anybody would be surprised if next start out he had a little bit of a rough go. Same thing for Rocker. Same thing for Cal Quantrill. Our current rotation is not necessarily the model of consistency. And so that makes it even tougher if you go 6-man rotation. You go 6-man rotation, you really want to have a solid bullpen, and you really want to have a solid core of starters. Right now, the Rangers have some guys that have potential, but are somewhat volatile. And so I would not be a fan of that. What do I think about splitting a game? Now, that's fine. Like, you have a, number 5. You have your number 5 starter kind of be a hybrid. Like, maybe, you have Cal Quantrill and you have Cody Bradford take it on. Or you have Cal Quantrill and Jordan Montgomery piggyback off each other. I could see something like that until Leiter comes back. But I don't think you go 6-man rotation. I totally think you could do like the 5th starter spot becomes like a tandem. But beyond that, I'm not a big fan of, hey, let's have 6 separate, distinct starters. Yeah, I mean, Matt, exactly. I'm with you on this. All right, we keep going. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. We are talking about the Rangers' 6-0 win and series win over the Giants today. Man, look, last night could have gone south quickly had that got to extra innings. I'm so glad the Rangers were able to squeak out a win, and then you have an opportunity for a series win today, and you get it done. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I mean, look, Nappy Boy, I appreciate all the comments today, my guy. I think this would be a really good scenario. I was only thinking maybe you do the Quantrill Monty or the Quantrill Bradford just to give a little bit of a different look, lefty-righty. You kind of put a little more pressure on the manager that way, right? If you do the double lefty, then you can kind of still allow the opposing manager to set up the lineup well. If you go right-left, you have a little bit more of a situation where you can kind of force the manager into some uncomfortable decisions. Think about what the Rays did to us last week, right? The Rays kind of went with that right-handed opener. Then they went with the lefty Seymour, and you just kind of put the Rangers in a tough spot. Did they start Jock Peterson? Did they start Evan Carter? I do think if you can go righty-lefty, that is probably a more ideal scenario than going Bradford and then Montgomery, because then you can just load up on your righties knowing that you've got lefty-lefty coming. That would be my preference. It would definitely be positive PR if you can get Jordan Montgomery and Cody Bradford both in sync, lighting it up. Yeah, I mean, I think somebody's comment earlier about Jordan Montgomery. Yeah, the fastball velo is down on Jordan Montgomery, and that's to be expected with, first of all, age, second of all, injury. And it's not like these guys are washed up or they suck, but yeah, look, the velo being down is a little concerning. It just means you got to be more fine in other areas of your game. I mean, think about DeGrom. Think about Evaldi. I mean, those guys used to be 100+ consistently on their fastballs over the course of a game, over the course of 6 or 7 innings. Now, both of them are learning to be more effective with other pitches, more effective with their location, and there's been some growing pains. And so I do think with Cody Bradford, with Jordan Montgomery, clearly you might see their velo tick up as they get stronger and as they get into a groove. But when you're a soft thrower, clearly extension helps with a guy like Cody Bradford, who's got a lead extension. That's great. You'd love if Cody had a little more spin. You'd love if that fastball had a little more life and movement. Right now, I would say Cody's fastball is a little bit on the flatter end of things, a little bit on the flatter end of the spectrum. But if you can hit your locations and you can have good change of speed with your changeup and with your other off-speed pitches, it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. G-Man, this is kind of what I said in so many words, right? Like, let's not try and like demean what Cody did today, but just to keep it in perspective, yeah, he's a soft throwing lefty who was pitching against the Giants today. So let's have some cautious optimism. Let's not make this bigger than what it needs to be. Let's see how he does over the next 2 or 3 starts. Let's see how he responds maybe when he's away from home. Cody was very, very good at Globe Life Field in 2024. He was very, very bad anywhere not Globe Life Field in 2024. So let's see how he does. Let's appreciate what he did today, and moving forward, let's keep our eye. Let's keep our eye on Cody and see if the stuff continues to play. Maybe against some stiffer competition, some more challenging opponents. Time will tell, no doubt. Rangers going to get Austin Hayes. I didn't know if they were going to add somebody or not. Look, Garver reunion I would love. I posted about this yesterday. Garv Sauce reunion feels like a no-brainer, especially with that Austin Wynn's performance from a couple nights ago, man. My goodness. Garv Sauce, free agent right now. Seattle sending him out to pasture. Well, I mean, not quite that dark, but you know what I mean. I think that Garv Sauce would be a nice face, a nice return. But at the same time, you know, Garver is not having a great year. Would he probably be able to match Austin Wynn's? You would think so. But Garver isn't having like an awesome year. He's not having a stellar season at this point. We'll see. But it would be a fun reunion. I think a lot of fans would get behind it. I would be a fan of it. You're not going to see me complaining, even if he's not great. Again, it's hard to be worse than what the Rangers currently have. I love Elias Diaz. You guys know that. But Austin Wynn's, isn't Austin hitting like below 100 or like right above 100? Like you wouldn't think Garver's going to do a whole lot worse than that if we're just being honest, right? Apparently the DeGrom salute is real. So are we going away from lasso to the salute, or are we still doing the lasso? That is the question of the day. I like the lasso, man. Like, I don't know. The salute's okay. Lasso is better. I'm not upgrading the salute over the lasso at this point. Maybe it needs to grow on me a little bit more, but I'm not sure that the salute is an upgrade at this point. I like the lasso a ton. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It's fun. It's just fun. Salute, all right. Lasso just has better vibes, man. Feels a lot more fun. Just me. Personal preference. Yeah, I would say Garver's definitely an upgrade over Wynn's for sure. DJ had a rough start to the season. I don't know what he's going to do when he gets back, but Zach, I'm with you. Catching situation next year is getting scary. Rangers in the offseason really have to address the catching position. I am just not a fan. You guys know this, of doing this piecemealing. Hey, let's sign a vet for a year. Let's sign a vet for 2 years. I'm not a fan of getting these guys that are kind of on the back nine. And, I'd really like to see them figure out the long-term catcher, the catcher of the future. Are you getting him in a trade? I don't think it's going to be Malcolm Moore. I know Malcolm had a nice game the other night. Evan Grant, I talked to you guys about this the other day, reporting that, within the organization, Malcolm Moore is not necessarily viewed as a long-term catcher, meaning there's thought to maybe move him to a different position. Malcolm Moore, by the way, never rated over the top highly as a defensive catcher. I believe he was like 45, which you guys know 80 is kind of the high end, 20 is the lowest, right? So they get graded on a 20 to 80 scale when they're getting scouted. And Malcolm, I believe, was like a 45 defensively, which is like, maybe league average, maybe slightly above that. It's definitely not the complementary, the strongest part of his game. I think the bat is definitely what's carrying there. And so we'll see what they do with them. I really just want to see them figure out the long-term catcher of the future. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be a guy outside the organization that's blossoming right now? I don't know what they're prepared to give up, what they're prepared to part ways with, but I'd like there to be a guy that they really crown as the next, Pudge Rodriguez, as the next Sundberg. Insert all the great catchers in Rangers history. I'd love for them to find that next piece. That would be enjoyable to me. Catcher position is so important. We have seen firsthand, especially the old school Rangers fans, we've seen firsthand what a really good catcher can do for you. Watching Pudge all those years, there's been some other good ones, clearly. I mentioned Sundberg. That's going a little ways back for some of my younger listeners. But, man, it's so huge when you can get a good catcher that just controls the pitching staff, controls the running game, but also can swing and can make a big impact offensively. So huge. So huge. Hey, Blake, no worries, man. Glad you're hanging out. Yeah, G baby, you make a good point. Like, I know that Kutch started the lasso thing. Maybe it doesn't quite feel right. I kind of liked it as a tribute to him, but I hear what you're saying. I still say the salute, it's okay. The alternatives, burger with this and the salute, like, I don't know. For me, I'm not over the top on the alternative so far. I'm not impressed. I'd like to see something a little bit better, something with a little more life. The salute and the burger, whatever that is, it's not doing it for me. To each their own, it's not doing it for me. You guys let me know what you think about the new celebration, man. I'd love to hear your opinion. I think Moore's arm is the same. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kate, I looked this up the other day. I want to say he was a 45 on each. And remember, I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. You guys know better. I really don't try to do that. If I do, it's not the vibe I'm going for. But not everybody I know understands all of the scouting stuff. And so I just want to be fair. But the scouting report on the defense, I believe he was a 45 out of 80. I'm looking it up right now, so that way we can just kind of put this one totally to bed. Let's see. The scouting grades, 40 on the power, 40 on the hit, 50 power, 30 run, 45 arm, 45 field, 40 overall. This was 2026, by the way. When they drafted him, he was a 50 overall. Now he's a 40 overall. So, I know there's a lot of Malcolm Moore hype, but understand since he's been drafted, the scouting grades have kind of gone down on Moore. Now, after 26 and 27, will they go back up? Maybe. But right now, the numbers have gone down a little bit on Malcolm, but look, the arm was at the draft a 45. The fielding was a 45. And in 26, a few years later, he's still at 45 on both, and he's a 40 overall player. Not great, right? I would say this. At this point, Malcolm Moore as a first-round pick is a little bit disappointing. I really don't think that's an unfair statement or an unfair take at this point. I know there's a lot of Rangers fans that, especially as Malcolm was really crushing it in A-ball, we're just really excited about him and about the prospect of him moving up through the ranks. But I would say at this point, Malcolm Moore has been a bit of a disappointment as a first-round draft pick, right? Had he been, let's say this is a 10th round guy, a 12th round guy, okay. I mean, look, I don't think anybody's going to be mad. A first-round player in three or 4 years into it, getting ranked 40th overall in the scouting report, not great. O'Hoppe is our only hope at catcher. I mean, maybe O'Hoppe can turn it around. I think he's got a better shot at more than cracking the major league roster as a catcher. But I'm not sold on O'Hoppe either. I think the Rangers are going to need to go outside of the organization. Okay, no worries, man. I think it could be interesting to pick up one of these guys. I don't know if they'll pick up any more than one. Ethan, do you know who's the best left-handed hitting player there in this group? Who's the best left-handed hitting player? I'm a fan of more. G Baby says, what's the scouting grade on the current options? Just need something serviceable. Very, very hard to get a serviceable catcher at this level. There's a number of options, right? You've got clearly some catchers around the league. We talked about before the trade deadline, Hunter Goodman would be a pretty tall price. Dalton Rushing would be, I think, cheaper than Goodman, but still probably a little bit pricey. Going to be interesting to see what the Rangers do. I don't know that they're going to be making a big splash like that, but they've just got to get a catcher that is a plus defender. I think that's the biggest thing I've come to understand. I know we've had defensive catchers in the past, and you kind of rue them a little bit, like, and this guy, he just sucks offensively. Give me somebody new. But what I've come to appreciate is, man, I'll take a guy that can at least play good defense. Because if you go for a catcher that is maybe a little better offensively, but is bad defensively, when that offense struggles or slumps, you really have nothing. So with Austin Hedges, for example, who's actually having a decent year offensively, anybody remember Jeff Mathis from pre-COVID? Mathis was not necessarily a masher up at the dish, right? But he played good defense. And so I would probably say, could you at least go get me an above average defender? Because the hitting is going to slump at some point. But if you're a good defensive catcher, that can still be a huge impact on the game. Can you control the running game? Can you control the pitching staff? That's valuable. Think they'll have to get a catcher in AAA that's major league ready. That would be the plan. I think that would be what I'd like to see. Not sure who's available. Clearly there's the big names that we all know, but I've got to think there's got to be some catchers in other organizations that are rising that you might have to pay up for, but you'd like to see the Rangers start making some moves in that regard. Austin Hayes probably hits lefties the best. Soler and Ozuna most power. Garver or Hayes most likely for Texas. Ethan says maybe Rob Refsnyder. Refsnyder was a guy that a lot of Rangers fans I know were talking about in the offseason. Refsnyder did hit lefties really well. Remember, it was between Andujar and Refsnyder. Those were kind of the two guys that a lot of people were keying in on. Rangers didn't get either one of them, right? But Refsnyder and Garver both having tough years. AJ says no Diaz return. I would be open to a Diaz return, but I don't know if you want to crown Diaz, your starting catcher, your primary catcher. I think Diaz is probably a little bit in a better spot if you're platooning him or at least splitting him up a little bit. Now, with what we have currently, I don't mind Diaz playing a majority of the time. I really don't. But Elias Diaz is 35. He is definitely, still got some gas in the tank, but he's 35 years old, going to be 36 next year. His pop time is still elite, one of the more elite pop times in the game. The blocking is probably, something to be desired at this point in his game, but the pop time, very, very elite. I'd like to see Diaz return, but be more of a secondary option. I'd really like to see the Rangers, like I said, figure out a guy that can play 3 out of 4 games. That would be my preference at this point. Rockies appear to be really wanting a king's ransom for Hunter Goodman, Darnell. I'd love to get Goodman as well. I think the Rockies were really asking high. I'd be curious what the ask for him was if it was our organization. Who would the Rockies want from us to give Hunter Goodman? I'd be curious. Who knows if that was even talked about, discussed between the Rockies and the Rangers. I would love to know, what did the Rockies, if it even got that far, what would the Rockies want from our organization for Hunter Goodman? Trading for Adley would have been my preference, Matt. I'm a big Adley Rutschman fan. I know he's a free agent after 27. So the concern was kind of like, hey, if you don't play baseball next year, Adley's basically a half-season rental. Man, that wouldn't be ideal. You really would not want to see Adley only play half a season for you. So I know that's probably a little bit in the back of the minds maybe of Texas, but I would have liked to have seen that for sure. Garb Sauce reunion, Jay, I hope so. I think that would feel better than Austin Wins. I don't know how much better on the field you're actually getting, but it would feel better than Austin Wins. You know, with some of these guys, it's hard because you don't have any emotional connection. You don't have any sentimental connection, and then the player's not playing well. So it's really easy as a fan to kind of discard those players. But when you've got a player like Garb Sauce, clearly a key instrument in winning the World Series back in 2023, you're a little more willing to put up with the struggles. You're a little more willing to put up with the ups and downs. You know, it's like life and relationships, man. The people that you love, you're a little more willing to put up with their BS. You know, people that you don't have any heart for, you're not putting up with a whole lot at all. It's just like life. But I would like to see a Garb Sauce reunion, no doubt. I would. That'd be a lot of fun. Walcott would be the Rockies' ass guarantee, probably. Matt, probably. I don't think I'd be willing to give up Walcott for Goodman. I like what I'm seeing from Walcott. I'd kind of like to let it ride out. And I do think, too, and I know some people maybe will get upset with me for getting a little negative here, but with Josh Young's decline out in the field, we've talked about this. I really do think it's even more important to keep Walcott. I think you want to have the option of moving Walcott either to third base or shortstop whenever Corey Seager is finally deemed to not be the everyday starter at that position, whenever that may be. Clearly, Corey is not really ready to give it up yet. Don't know how long the organization is going to just go with whatever Corey wants. But I will say, I think with Young and Seager, both on a little bit of the decline here in terms of defense, right? Defensively speaking, I would probably feel like keeping Walcott is even more important. If you give up Walcott and you stick with Seager and with Young down there at short and third, that left side of the infield starts feeling more and more like a weak spot to me. You got Zeke Duran. That's nice. I'd really like Walcott Duran over on that left side. Walcott, Duran, short, third. That to me would be the dream. I think Duran is playing himself into a really solid fixture on the team, obviously this year, but next year too and beyond. I'd really like to see a Duran Walcott left side of the infield. That would be fun. That would be really fun. Hoping we would have moved Young at this deadline. I got to think that the injury made it a lot harder to move Josh Young. I think the injury would have maybe excluded, maybe would have allowed them to trade him. But I don't even think that they were on that page, if I'm being honest. I never heard Josh Young's name really seriously mentioned. I know they said everybody's on the table. But still, I never really heard them talk too seriously about Josh Young. I think the Rangers need to move off of Young in the field. I think you could have him be, kind of the Jock Peterson of 2026 and 2027, meaning I think you could have Josh do some DHing next year, especially when there's a lefty starter. I think you can stomach, the glove out in the field here and there. But I don't think Josh Young out in the field is something the Rangers probably want to do long term. It's been bad this year. Every year, Josh has gotten a little bit slower of step. That does happen as you age, but Josh is only 29 years old, man. I'd like to see the Rangers pivot in that regard. Again, Duran, Walcott, left side of the infield sounds very, very good to me. If you have Duran at third, you have Walcott at shortstop. That sounds like the ideal. And then at second base, who knows? Cam Cauley is a favorite of mine. And so you guys know I'm bringing a little bit of bias there. I'm not sure if I'm trying to be totally objective. I'm not sure that Cam is the long-term answer at second base. and I love Cody Freeman as well. He's a friend of the show, but Cody, I think, still has some things to prove when it comes to his ability to be a long-term option in the infield too. I'm not sure the Rangers have that second base spot really figured out at this point. And so it's going to be interesting what they do this offseason, who they decide to ultimately try and roll with. Josh Smith clearly out of the organization at this point. And so that, to me, is definitely a signal. They are either going to stay with who they've got, or maybe they seek to go outside, pick up somebody in free agency. I'm not really sure who's available next year. Time will tell on that. But I do think the Rangers have some ability to upgrade defensively, especially in the infield. We'll see what happens. Ideal scenario, Seager to first base. I know a lot of people have talked about that. I think Seager would be an ideal first baseman because of his height, especially. He's tall. I think he is clearly, as a shortstop, adaptable. He's probably able to, I think, adjust to first base easier than some. We'll see if he's open to doing that. I do think Seager as a DH is probably the best play. Like next year, if you don't deal Josh Young, I think having Seager DH against lefties, Seager DHing against righties, Young DHing against lefties makes a lot of sense. I think you could even work Brandon Nimmo into that DH a little bit as well. Clearly, you still play him out in the field occasionally. Man, speaking of Nimmo, he had a great series at the plate, but the Rangers, defensively, it's so interesting. They've got a couple of dudes in Wyatt and in Evan that can really patrol the outfield quite well. But man, we have just no throwing arms out there. It's bad. I know I posted last night about that throw from Wyatt Langford, the one where, he was running to his left. He did the pivot step, and then he just kind of lollipopped it in. I have no clue what that was. I know some people said it's laziness. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it ain't it. That's not it. Wyatt, to me, for all the good he does getting jumps out there in the outfield, and that's a big part of it, right? It's a big part of it. Getting good jumps, tracking down fly balls, cutting off the ground balls in the gaps. That's huge. But man, I am just a little frustrated with the arm talent that we've got out there right now. It is just not super ideal. Not super ideal. A lot of people, Colts fan, are on your page, like in terms of it was just kind of a lazy effort. I know I had some people in the comments like, oh, bro, even a perfect throw wouldn't have got the runner. I don't know about that. I think if Wyatt does his pivot step, I think if he turns his hips and really fires, you got to have a good arm. Wyatt, I would not say has a plus arm at this point, but I think a good throw, a solid, firm throw probably gets the runner there. I mean, look, he lollipopped it in, and it was already like not that far away from being kind of close. I think a solid, firm throw makes that play pretty dang close. Maybe he's playing hurt, Darnell. You might be right. Zeke is definitely the only arm we've got that can play the outfield right now. I mean, there's some other dudes that have better arms, but they're not outfielders, right? I definitely agree with this, though. Wyatt is not running all out right now. Why is Young to first so foreign? G-Baby, put the question a different way if I miss it, but I want to make sure that I get this right. I'll go with what I assume you're asking here. Josh Young to first base, I think, is something that out loud when you say it, like it sounds okay, but when you really think about it, he's having a really tough time at third base. I would say to play third, you need to be a little rangier than a first baseman. That being said, first base, you have got to do a lot of running around, man. You are doing the PFPs. Even think about Jake Berger right now, how much dive in left and right he does. The unassisted, the running over to first base, it just doesn't seem as much of a lock as I think it maybe sounds out loud when you first say it. Like, it's just, hey, let him play first base. First base is not the easiest position, right? You're the cutoff man when it comes to right field. When it comes to center field, you're sprinting over to the mound to cut off for the center fielder. There's a lot of moving parts at first base. I just think Young, ultimately, if it was me, I would probably try and trade him. He's a very one-dimensional ball player right now, and there might be a team that is better suited to allow him to either keep playing the field or to allow him to just DH straight up. But I cannot say I'm a big fan of the one-dimensional types. I've already talked about, my long-term, if the Rangers ever do a full rebuild or a half rebuild, you've got to get players that are durable, and you've got to get players that are not one-dimensional, meaning, hey, all they can do is hit against lefties. All they can do is DH. All they can do is hit against righties. I want to move away from the players that are one-dimensional, and I want to get players that are versatile, they're durable, they're athletic, they put pressure on the other team, sharp defensively, kind of like, the Rays, what they've put emphasis on, right? A lot of defense, a lot of speed. That to me is a pretty decent model. And I'm a Josh Young fan. I don't want it to sound like I hate him. I'm a fan. I like what he's done this year. I just think when you're rolling with players that can really only swing a bat and they're kind of defensive liabilities, and they're not sluggers, like Josh Young is not hitting a lot of home runs right now, right? That's tough. That's tough. JJ's definitely hitting the ball well. And I know maybe sounds like I'm trying to take away from him. I'm really not. I think you got to give him a ton of credit for what he's done up at the plate this year. But for the long term, I just think the Rangers may want to go in a different direction. If he totally turns it around in the offseason and he comes back in 2027 looking like a new ball player when it comes to the defensive side of things, when it comes to the conditioning, great. I probably say I have my doubts in that regard, but you never know. You never know. We'll see what happens. Lockout coming next season. I hope not. Appreciate the comment, man. Hope that doesn't happen. But it does feel like almost a certainty we're at least going to miss games. Ryan, this is kind of my perspective. Like, Young's value is probably the highest it's ever going to be right now. I think trading him in the offseason makes sense, but maybe they'll roll it back with him. Like, this front office, I am kind of done guessing what they're going to do. You just never know. Why are we acting like JJ is a bum at third? He's not. Just a confusing comment. What are you basing that on? That would probably be my biggest question. Like, what stat are you using? Are you just eye test? You don't think it's as bad just based on what you've seen? Young defensively has not been good. I don't know if there's really any way that you can spin it, but I'm open. Convince me. I don't think Young has been very good defensively. Would love to hear the alt perspective here, genuinely. I'm not just trying to be smart here. I'm really not. Everything that I've looked up, below average third baseman. Not great. I'm trying to be nice. I don't want to be disrespectful to the guy, but it has not been good. I'm looking at FanGraphs right now. Defensive rating, minus 0.2. So a negative defensive rating on FanGraphs. I'll go down to some of the more, some of like the FRV and stuff like that. See if that does him any better. Don't go off fielding percentage. Fielding percentage is like 974, but I never pay attention to fielding percentage. You shouldn't either. FRV is -4. I mean, look, there's just not a lot of positives to point out unless you just love the guy and you're trying to be nice. There's not a lot. The outs above average is -3. The FRV is -4. What's the DRS? The DRS was like -10 last time I checked. The run saved, I think, was like double digits. Like he's cost Texas 10 runs with his glove. Yeah. There's there's definitely not a lot of positives here. Not a lot. Career-wise, maybe, but I don't know if you can expect like this is just like an anomaly. And Josh, it's not like he has a cannon out there at third base either. Like you watch Zeke Duran throw the ball, you watch Josh Young throw the ball. It's pretty hard to not notice a humongous difference. I'll pull up Baseball Savant. I know some of you guys were saying pull up Baseball Savant. Again, I'd love to be proven wrong on this. I really would. Fielding is 18th percentile, OAA -3, 18th percentile. Arm strength is 35th percentile, so that kind of backs up what I just said. Below league average in terms of the arm strength. The sprint speed is 16th percentile. Dalton, I would say, I mean, nobody's saying he's a bum. I think that's your words, not mine. But with respect, he's not been good this year. Nobody's saying he's the worst in the entire league, although I do think his DRS is pretty down there. So I feel like this is a case where we like Josh Young. He's a Texas boy, Texas Tech guy. We want to see him succeed, but the numbers are what they are. They are what they are, man. He's got one of the worst DRSs in the league. He's 18th percentile in outs above average. The arm strength is below average. Come on now. We can do better at third. Darnell, I think this is the point. And when you consider the margin for errors that this team has, they don't have a lot of margin for bad defense. Like the defense has to be the constant. Rangers don't have room for people kicking the ball around. Instant ways that you're going to see the Rangers lose games. I don't know if Monday is a better example of that. When the Rangers kick the ball around, they're not going to win a lot of games because they don't have the offensive firepower to come back from giving away free bases, free runs. It's tough, man. If you had a lineup that rakes, like if this was early 2000s Rangers, you could probably deal with the defense of Josh because you got guys in the lineup that are going to make up for that. When you don't have a powerful offense and your pitching is not the elite level that it was from last year, the defense has to be on point, man. And I would imagine the team is going to be pretty similar next year. I don't think there's going to be wholesale changes in 2027, assuming baseball's being played. I think it's going to be a pretty similar looking team. I would love to see this team really shore up the defense and just not have that be a variable at all. And I think having Zeke Duran out there is good. You know, obviously bringing up Walcott, that might be helpful if he's able to make the team out of spring training next year. We keep rolling. A rise in the offseason, I would be a fan of that. Make him everyday second baseman. I'd be a big fan of that. Definitely. Hope that it works out. I really do. All right. Hey, Orioles series coming up this weekend. Rangers hosting that series, by the way. Off day tomorrow. That'll be kind of nice. Rangers have been cooking for a long time here. Get a good little off day. And then Friday night, Tejas night. Hopefully ready to rock and roll, win another series. That's the plan. And it worked out today. You guys heard me last night. I was a little hesitant. Like, man, do we really want Bradford on the mound for the chance to win a series? I guess the answer is yes. Got to eat some crow on that one. I was worried. Man, do we want to have this guy's first big league start in 2 years be to win a series? The answer is yes. Emphatically yes. Friday, though, Evaldi on the bump. Baltimore has not announced a starting pitcher. DeGrom will go Saturday. Kumar Rocker will go on Sunday. Evaldi against the Orioles, by the way. We'll see if we can pull the numbers here. Looks like Pete Alonso, definitely a guy you want to look out for. Alonso 3 for 4 against Evaldi lifetime. There's a couple other bats as well. Gunnar Henderson, 5 for 10 lifetime against Evaldi. You've also got, let's see, Leody Taveras, man. Leody, 2 for 2 lifetime against Evaldi. How about that? Hopefully Leo doesn't, go Barry Bonds mode on us in this series like many former Rangers decide to do. Like, it's almost like without fail, man. If they played for the Rangers at any point and now they're on the opposing side, instant Hall of Fame level player for whatever reason. Instantly. Leody Taveras on the year, by the way, if you're curious about what Leo's up to, he is hitting a robust 219 with a 637 OPS. Sounds about right, doesn't it? Leo is having a really good start to 2026, and he's kind of gone back to his usual 219, 637 OPS. He is getting some pretty regular playing time. Looks like he started against the Phillies in a couple of those games. Man, you know who's crushing it? Speaking of the Phillies, Derek Hill. Remember that guy? Derek Hill played for the Rangers a couple seasons ago. He is crushing it for the Phillies right now. Like, my goodness, man. No word on Higgy yet, Moses. No word on Higgy. Jeez. I wonder what's going on there. But I haven't heard a lot of word on Higgy at all. Josh Young, by the way, injury update on him. It just feels like it's probably not going to be till the end of August. Like, at this point, don't you have to kind of put Josh Young on rehab assignment? Like, it's getting to a point where it's kind of been almost too long. Josh hasn't played since before the Mariners series. Like, it's almost getting to that point where it's been too long. Like, you got to go ahead and put him into, excuse me, my phone's going off here. Forgive me. It's almost like you've got to put him into that category. And you've got to get him down to Round Rock or down to Frisco and have him do a little bit of time down there just to get the rhythm back. And you hope he didn't lose it. That's what I'm worried about most. He was in such a good groove, right? Is he now going to come back and be off of his game, be out of rhythm? I know that we like to assume guys are just going to pick up right where they left off, but it's a very real thing, man. You get injured, you're down for a while, and you kind of flame out a little bit, or you at least lose some of what you had before. And so for me, I hope JJ is able to really get back into a groove. Hope he's really able to just pick up right where he left off, because I do think that is a really real thing, especially when you have to miss like 2 or 3 weeks. Now, with it being a calf, I don't know if Josh is still able to do swings. Clearly running is kind of the big thing, right? But you wonder if he's able to do some cage work, some swing work. I don't know. Kelenic crushing it in the minors. What's he doing? What are the numbers right now? G-Baby, do you know? Higgy could need Tommy John. Both catchers needing Tommy John? My goodness. I did see the Derek Hill Grand Slam. Hill actually, I think, was a pretty decent ball player. It was just one of those things like when Hill played here, you had Carter, you had Langford. It's the same problem. And I would always talk about this. Like, the Rangers have these guys that have so much potential, right? Carter, high ceiling. Langford, high ceiling. And even if they're not playing as well, and you've got another guy like Derek Hill who was decent, clearly you're not going to, bench your future guys for those players, even if they're playing well. And so I do think Derek Hill was probably a victim of that to an extent. Let's keep going. When do you think we finally see O'Hoppe? Maybe roster expansion or like another 2-error game from Austin Wins, one of the two. Either roster is expanding or Austin Wins being really, really bad. Kellenick's batting like 370. Good for him. Hey, Cowboys hat, you like this? Shannon, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but obviously I'm a fan. Shameless plug. Football season on its way. We cover the Cowboys. We cover the Texas Longhorns for college football. If you're not a fan of either team, feel free to come do some friendly trash talking during the season. Would love it. But we do Sunday shows, Saturday shows, college football, NFL. We do some Maverick stuff. Mavericks, I'm probably more short vids than lives, but we will occasionally go live for some of the big marquee matchups with Mavs as well. But the Rangers are the one we kind of go all out for, obviously. Name of the channel, right? All right, Kellenick. Let me look up the numbers real quick since we're hyping up what he's doing. So in the minor leagues this year, Kellenick obviously has had a couple of different stints, signed, released, re-signed. Last 7 games. What am I looking at here? Let me go to game log. Maybe this is showing me the major league numbers. Let's go to game log. In August, he is 4 for his last 7. So that's good. Actually, better than that, he is 6 for his last 11. So since July 31st, 6 for his last 11. And to go along with that, he's got 3 walks. So 6 for 11 with 3 walks since July 31st. Not bad. Not bad at all. Whew. I need to cover the Ags. We do cover the Aggies. Lone Star Showdown, November. Come hang out. We can talk some trash. We can have some fun. I mean that seriously. You guys know I'm good for it. It's part of the fun of being a fan. I tell the story all the time. My best friends growing up in Arlington, I didn't have a single best friend who was a Longhorns fan. Longhorns are in my family. Uncle went to school there. Dad spent a lot of time in Austin too. So it come by it honestly. But man, my friends and I, we would just go back and forth like my entire childhood. Aggies would beat the Longhorns, man. I'd be hearing it for days. Longhorns beat the Aggies, and I get to dish it back out. It's all part of the fun of it, honestly. It gets heated at times, but it's why we love it. It's being a fan, man. It's part of the experience. Come hang out, man. But I know a lot of you guys are definitely supporters of the Cowboys living in the Metroplex area. I know some of you guys go a different way for NFL. I always say, just come and hang out, man. If you love football, if you love baseball, it's a good spot to be, even if you don't share the same interest in team as me. We have fun. Do a little bit of everything. All right, let's do it. Colby, let's do it, man. Rangers fan, but Texas Tech smokes Texas any day. This is the kind of friendly trash talk I'm talking about, man. I would love, it would have been fun if the two would have taken each other up on that deal when Sark was kind of running his mouth a little bit. And Tech was like, man, well, let's schedule it. Let's get it done. That kind of would have been fun. I would have been for that. I am not a big fan of shying away from the big marquee matchups. Like I know that it's kind of the big topic this year, but I would love to see more and more teams play those big marquee matchups. I know that it's not as popular of a thing to do with some of the drama that happened last year. Texas not getting into the playoff, having to play Ohio State and some other top opponents. I'm a big fan of those big out-of-conference matchups. I love it. I hope teams don't go away from it, but I fear that they're going to. All right, AJ Niner gang. All right, this is good. I get to hear some of the affiliations I'm going up against this football season. We got some Jets fans. We got some Niners fans. It's good. We got some Aggies fans hanging out. We got some Red Raiders fans. I love it, baby. Like I said, just because you're not a fan of the Cowboys or Longhorns, that doesn't mean you shouldn't come by, hang out, talk football, do some trash talking. It'll be great. Seriously. All right, y'all. Hey, it's getting hot out here in the garage. It's about 115 in Vegas today. The swamp cooler's just about out of water, so I'm going to head inside here and cool off, go spend some time with the fam. We'll have a video out to you guys later tonight, and then tomorrow I'll have another video out as well. Friday, we'll put one out before the game. It's going to be great. A lot of content coming your way in the next 36 hours or so. Thank you for all you do to send those to other people, like, comment. Man, I greatly appreciate it. You guys are such a huge reason that the show has become bigger and bigger. We started very, very small. My mom, my dad, my best friends, my wife, and, other extended family were my only followers. I would get occasionally maybe like 3 or 4 people in these streams, and it's just grown and grown over the last 3 years. You guys are a big reason for that. So many thanks. Many thanks. Appreciate you guys. Darnell, thank you for the kind words. I don't think Darnell Walcott's going to get called up. I just don't see that happening. I think if he was playing the field, you could maybe see him getting a September tryout, but I think because of the lack of being able to play the field, recovering from the injury, you probably won't see him. Probably won't. We'll see what happens. We'll keep going. Anything else? 9 for 11. OBP. There you go. That's good. That's outstanding. He is on a roll. I don't know if they're going to call him up, but if he keeps hitting like that, Kellenic we're talking about, right? They might have to. All right, y'all. We'll see you later. Have a great rest of your Wednesday night. And as I always say, 10 to every show. God bless and go Rangers.